Well, Jane. Hey. Hi, buddy. Good evening and welcome back to Bullet Wanderer. What's that you say? Evening? Don't you normally do these in the morning? Yes, that's true, but today is a special day because I've had to go home for an essential reason. So I thought when in Rome, or in this case when in Waterford, we'd, oh god, this roundabout is always death. Why not tell you a little something about my home county, Waterford, on my way to my hometown, Tremor. Now here it is. You ever heard of a Blaa? It's a type of bread product and it is unique to Waterford. Now the naysayers out there might say it's just a floury bap, but it's not. It's something more special than that. You know how champagne is only champagne if you're drinking it if it comes from the Champagne region of France. Well, a bap is sparkling wine compared to a Blaa's. Well, compared to a Blaa's Blaa. I think at first I'll tell you what a Blaa is. It kind of is a floury bap, but not quite. Blaa is made of 4 main ingredients: salt, water, yeast, and flour. It's a sort of small square piece of bread, about the size of a coaster in dimensions, and then in height they're generally about 2 or 3 inches. What can you do with Blaas? Well, you eat them. Generally Irish people would eat them, or Waterford people would eat them for breakfast or for lunch, but I think after that they're not as fresh, so you would generally eat them within the first few hours after they've been baked. Now today there are 4 main producers of Blaas in Waterford, but at the height of Blaadom there were about 15 bakers. There's the famous Waterford Crystal, Waterford's other famous export. Some people think you shouldn't have them after 12. I think you should have them whenever you feel like. But they're generally freshest within the first few hours of life. What would you have in a Blaa? Some people will put sausages in there. Some people will put rashers, maybe eggs. Some strange people put burgers in them. I wouldn't trust them, but do what you like. For me personally, I think you can't go wrong with just putting some nice butter in there, and that's it. One of my favourite parts about the Blaa is that it has a nice dousing of flour as part of the final process before it's baked. What's the history of the Blaa? Because this is a history-ish channel. I'll tell you now. So in the 17th century, so we're talking the 1600s, over in France there was some turmoil, as there often was in these tumultuous times of the 1600s. And what was happening was Catholicism had outlawed other religions. So French Protestants, the Huguenots, set sail away from France to seek refuge in other countries. Ireland seemed like a good choice apparently, because that's where they went to. They went to Waterford, this county, which was at the time a good maritime port town. But in Ireland at this time, yeast and wheat wasn't really a big thing. White bread was seen as a luxury. It wouldn't be as common as it is now. But these Huguenots, they loved the white bread. And of course, white bread in French is pain blanc. So you can see where this is going. So the lads came over and they settled in Waterford, and they didn't want to give up their lovely lifestyle of eating white bread. So they would have yeast imported, or wheat imported, I believe. Now, I don't know if this is historically accurate, but here's my storytelling rendition of how it probably went down. And I think Hickory's Blaa makers tell the same version. That the French would be making their pain blanc, which is something that the Irish people at the time wouldn't have really known, because they would have been big brown bread eaters. So I'd imagine some Waterford fella goes into the Huguenot, he's like, "Come here to me, you, yourself. What's that you're after eating?" And the Frenchman says, "Oh, bonjour, mon ami, c'est un pain blanc." Come here, what? Pain blanc? Oui, un pain blanc. Un blanc? Oui, un pain blanc. A Blaa? Oui. A Blaa. Come here to me, lads, there's a couple of Blaas in the shop there if you want some. And that's the historically accurate recreation of how a Blaa came to get its name. But I'm missing a bit, which is that the pain blanc was like white bread, what you'd be used to seeing. But the leftover pieces of dough would be kneaded into a kind of circular shape and baked and doused with flour. And it turned out that that was quite tasty. So they would initially have given that away for cheaper, I'd imagine. And that's how the Blaa became the biggest craze Waterford had ever seen. If you're ever in Waterford, or generally in Ireland, they're exported nationwide, but best had in Waterford. You should try one. Slap some butter on it. Delicious. And don't let anyone tell you that it's just a floury bap. Why am I here today? The tax disc is up on this, so I need to go home to collect it. But on my way, I decided to bring home some cans of Kilkenny. Not Smithwick's Kilkenny, it's an actual drink called Kilkenny, which I find quite nice. But I decided to bring some home to my family for them to try. The only problem is, I realised halfway through this journey, they're sitting in the saddlebags and are getting constantly vibrated like mad, so might have to call the bomb squad to open that one. Thanks for watching though. Hope you enjoyed this journey, and to finish it off, I'm just going to give you a quick look at Tramore Beach. You'd miss the sea air when you're living inland. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll be back soon.